Welcome back, everyone. In vitro fertilization, or IVF, has become a lifeline for thousands of families struggling to become pregnant. But recently, the medical practice has come under fire, facing legal threats, changes in federal funding, and a growing ethical debate around it. President Trump, who has called himself the father of IVF, signed an executive order to expand access to this procedure. That was back in February. So where do things stand now? In tonight's Prime Focus, our Faith Abubey speaks to parents, doctors, and the first U.S.-born IVF baby about this. They say for them, it's literally the gift of life.
Okay. No promises, just hormones, needles, and a whole lot of determination.
Okay. It's fine. I'm not scared of needles. I don't know what to expect.
IVF can test your limits, but Natalie Lawson and her husband were ready to try anything for a shot at a baby.
The process has been terrible, if I'm being honest. We've suffered several miscarriages. Finally, we decided, we needed to seek medical help. And we did, and we found out that IVF was our best option.
More needles.
Natalie documenting every part of the process, sometimes grueling, other times hopeful.
It's literally been a dream. Even though nothing's happened yet, family's a big deal to us, and we really want to have a big family one day.
Here's my progesterone oil.
I had heard of IVF. I just thought, oh yeah, you'll do some medicine and then bam, you'll get pregnant. No, that is not, that's not what it is.
IVF, or in vitro fertilization, is a form of assisted reproductive technology. It combines eggs and sperm in a lab to create an embryo outside the human body. That embryo is then transferred into the uterus in hopes of a pregnancy. It's not simple and it's not cheap, but for millions of families, it's a literal gift of life. More than 95,000 babies born in the U.S. in 2023 were conceived through IVF, according to the American Society of Reproductive Medicine.
Always wanted to be a mom. That was never a question. She came out at 5 pounds, but she has been healthy ever since. To this day, I still stare at her sometimes and I'm just like, oh my God, girl, like you're real. like you are here. So it still blows my mind.
For Brittany Williams and her husband, it took almost 10 years of trying, tears, and therapy to get here. And IVF made it happen. The procedure, once shunned as unnatural, now increasingly a mainstream lifeline. In 2023, more than 432,000 cycles were performed in the U.S., nearly 3 times the number from just a decade ago.
This here is...
And it happens in labs like this, where IVF mom and endocrinologist Dr. Nicole Banks and her team make medical miracles under a microscope.
We all love the successful stories.
We got rare access inside the lab, watching as they handle life's earliest stages.
So as soon as the follicles have been drained in the OR, they come straight to me and they have to stay warm or the blood will clot. So we keep them in these warmers and I immediately search under this microscope and I yell out how many eggs I've found for the doctors.
From consultation to egg retrieval, the IVF process can stretch at least 4 weeks, sometimes months, physically and emotionally taxing, with no guarantees that viable eggs can be harvested or that those eggs will result in embryos.
These are situations where there's oftentimes no other way for a couple to conceive. There's no getting around that IVF has the highest success rates per try. And so while more conservative management is less invasive and less expensive, it's not recommended to try more than 3 to 6 times with more conservative options.
Most states do not mandate insurance coverage for IVF treatment. According to a White House estimate, a single cycle can cost upwards of $25,000 without insurance.
Oh, I want to talk about IVF. I'm the father.
You don't hear that every day.
I'm the father of IVF.
President Trump promising to fix access and the rising cost, signing an executive order earlier this year that gave his team until May 19th to produce a plan. That deadline has come and gone with no clear plan in sight. But the White House telling ABC News that the Domestic Policy Council has completed its recommendations for the president to review and did not provide any more details.
The biggest barrier in IVF today is the cost. And so what we need to fight for, and I see changes in this, is expanded insurance coverage for infertility, which is a disease.
Cost isn't the only IVF hurdle. In April, the Trump administration also eliminated the CDC team responsible for monitoring and tracking IVF cycles across the country and researching ways to improve fertility. Legal threats are also growing. Last year, an uproar in Alabama after the state Supreme Court briefly declared frozen embryos as children, halting care at some clinics.
I want to let the legislators know that the world is watching. Our country is watching.
I anticipate having a bill on my desk very shortly.
SB 159 has passed.
Alabama's governor quickly signed a bill to reinstate access to IVF, but the bill did not address the ruling that embryos are considered people, which could open the door to new legal challenges in the future.
So this is my baby book.
Advocates like Elizabeth Carr have been speaking out.
If you take IVF out of that equation, you're not just impacting people who have infertility. You're impacting the LGBTQ population that has to use this technology. You're impacting people who want to screen for terrible genetic diseases. You're impacting people who want to preserve their fertility if they're going through cancer treatments. So it's not a tiny sliver of the population anymore. It's a much greater population. I can show you my first headline.
What fuels Elizabeth's advocacy is her own background. 3 years after the world's first IVF baby made her debut in England, Elizabeth became the first ever baby born through IVF here in the United States.
And America's first test tube baby is born.
Your mom took issue with the term test tube baby.
I hate the term for a couple reasons. Number one, it's wildly inaccurate. There are no test tubes involved. It's all done in a petri dish. And secondly, I just think it conjures up this like sci-fi idea of, like Dr. Frankenstein's lab, which if you've ever been to an IVF clinic is like the farthest thing from Frankenstein's lab.
When Elizabeth was conceived in 1981, egg retrievals required major surgery. Today, embryologists wait longer to freeze embryos, freeze more of them, and transfer fewer, boosting success and reducing risks.
Early on, it used to be a very risky process. It also allowed women to have multiple births. And with the help of research, they figured out what works and what doesn't work. So where do you see us going from here?
I see us improving upon the ability to select an embryo for transfer, to get to a less invasive way to select the best embryo for transfer.
I think it's exciting where we're headed and the fact that people like me get a chance to have a family because of technology and its advances. So I'm just thankful that the technology was here to help my family grow.
Back in Natalie's home after years of loss, her first IVF cycle is a success. She's pregnant with her first child.
3, 2, 1!
And a celebration for a much anticipated December arrival.
Hang on!
They're expecting to meet their little girl on December 31st. Our thanks to the team and Faith Abubey for that story.